In this lecture, we will discuss the remaining part of the overview lecture on CS301 Theory of Computation. So, in the first part, we discussed about the reason for a computer science students to learn theory of computation. And we also have discussed about the various topics that we are going to learn under the label regular languages. And the next is context-free languages. And under context-free languages, the first topic that we are going to discuss is about pushdown automata. And pushdown automata is obtained from finite state automata by adding an intermediate storage, which is a stack that we have discussed. And so the power is increased, and you can actually recognize this language and many other languages which cannot be generated by a finite state automaton. And we discussed this as a language which cannot be generated by a finite state automaton, but you can generate this language by using a pushdown automata, by using the stack as an intermediate storage. And the next topic that we learn under the label context-free languages is the grammar representation of context-free language, and which is known as context-free grammar. Here is an example context-free grammar and a derivation. And the grammar contains two rules, and this derivation shows deriving a string AABB. And how you are doing it? From S, you are applying production number 1, and production number 1 is this. Sorry, I have not numbered it, but this is 1. So you are saying, okay, you can replace capital S with small a, capital S, small b. That is what I did to reach here. And then again, I applied the same production 1. So this capital S here can be replaced again with small a, capital S, small b. So that is what you are getting here. A, then this is replaced by small a, capital S, small b, and then this b. And then I am applying production number 2. This is a special rule. This is what is called epsilon production. That is, S can be replaced with epsilon. Epsilon means nothing. So S is replaced with nothing, means S is taken out. So what you are getting is small a, small b, small b. That is a square, b square. And if you want, you can generate AQ, BQ, and you can generate AB. If you do not apply 1 again here, what you are generating is AB. And if you continue, you can see that what you can generate is the same language, A raised to n, B raised to n. And in this course, we will prove a theorem which says that for every context-free language, there exists a pushdown automata and a context-free grammar. Okay, so these are the two representations that we have for context-free language, and after these two, we will be discussing the pumping lemma for context-free languages. Similar to the pumping lemma for regular languages, here again, we will use this lemma to prove that there are non-context-free languages. That is, languages for which you cannot design a pushdown automata, or you can write a context-free grammar. An example for such a language is this: n number of A's followed by n number of B's followed by n number of C's, where n is any natural number. An example string can be A square, B square, C square. Okay, so this is a non-context-free language, and this demands more powerful machines. And now we can see another machine which is called linear bounded automata. That will be the next topic that we learn. And what is a linear bounded automata? In case of a linear bounded automata, what you have is an infinite tape where you can store the input, and you can also rewrite a finite number of symbols in it. Okay, you have an infinite tape, and the automata will take a finite length string, and the automata can also rewrite finitely many cells on it, and that finitely many will be defined by a linear function of the input length. Suppose input is of length n, and then you are bounding the length like, okay, for a natural number k, the automata can rewrite n into k cells in the automata. Okay, such an automata is known as linear bounded automata. And linear bounded automata are strictly more powerful than pushdown automata. For example, you can show that you can have a linear bounded automata for this language A n, B and C n, which is known as a non-context free language. Okay, so but you can design a linear bounded automata, and there are many other non-context free languages for which you can have a linear bounded automata. And after linear bounded automata, we will be learning the corresponding grammar. See that we had regular grammar for finite state automata, context free grammar for pushdown automata. Similarly, here for linear bounded automata, we have context sensitive grammar. The name is context sensitive grammar, and maybe we can see an example grammar here. Here is an example grammar given, and we can see what you can do with this grammar. So unlike the other grammars that we have seen, here there are more than one variable, capital S and capital B, and assume that the start symbol is capital S. So as usual, you can start from the start symbol, and there are two productions that you can apply, and suppose I apply production number 1. So what do you get? If I apply production number 1, what I am getting is small a, capital S, capital B, small c. This production is what is applied. Okay. Now, which all productions are possible to be applied? You can apply 1 or 2 because S is there, and that and these are the only production that you can apply. If you carefully look at that, you can see that you can apply production number 1 or 2. And suppose now I apply production number 2 on this S. So what I get? A, then this S must be replaced by ABC, small ABC, and then the remaining symbols, capital B and C. Sorry, capital B, small c. And now what do you do from there? And now suppose I apply production number 3. How can I apply production number 3? That means small c, capital B. Yes, it is there. Small c, capital B. I am going to replace this. Okay, so that's fine. And so what I get is AAB is there. And after that, this small c, capital B will be replaced by capital B, small c. This is the production. Okay. And this is replaced, so I have the remaining C. And if you carefully look at the current string, you can see that the only production that will apply is production number 4. That is, this small b, capital B can be replaced. So what do you get? Small production number 4. So if you apply that, you will get small aa. Then this small b, capital B will be replaced by small b, and then what follows is small cc. Okay, this is what you derived from this grammar, and if you continue deriving more and more strings, you can observe that you are deriving strings of this form: a raised to n, b raised to n, c raised to n. And it is true that for any language for which there exists a linear bounded automata, you can also have context sensitive grammar. These two are equivalent in power. Okay, so these are the two formal representations that we are going to learn. For context sensitive grammar, they are context sensitive grammar and linear bounded automata. Sorry, for context sensitive languages, you have either linear bounded automata or context sensitive grammar as formal representations. And after this, we will discuss the most powerful automata, which is named as Turing machines. And what is a Turing machine? As we have seen in the first lecture, a Turing machine is an automata where you can have a infinite length tail. Initially, it halts the input string, and the automata can rewrite any cell in the infinite length tail. Okay, this is what is called a Turing machine. And an example language that this Turing machine can generate is this. A raised to n square for any n. Okay, and you can see that if you want, you can prove that you cannot have any of the other kind of automata for recognizing this language. And the most fascinating thing about this machine is that this is equivalent in power to a digital computer. That means whatever you can do with a digital computer, you can also do it with a Turing machine. Maybe this is not believable, but towards the end of the course, we can see why it is so. Okay, after Turing machine, we will discuss about a very nice problem, which is known as halting problem. And what is halting problem? Given a Turing machine M and an input X to the Turing machine, the problem of automatically determining whether the given Turing machine M will finish its execution on the input X or it will enter an infinite loop. Two things can happen. Given an input X to a Turing machine M, either the machine M finishes execution on X, or because of the infinite length tail, it may enter an infinite loop so that it will never finish its execution on X. So we want to automatically check whether the Turing machine will finally finish its computation or it will go forever. And this problem is what is called the halting problem, and this problem is proved as undecidable by Alan Turing. This is a very interesting problem, and we will also learn a technique called reduction to prove that various other problems are undecidable. Okay, and so we discussed, or we will be learning about various formal languages, and the languages are classified into these languages, and this classification is called Chomsky classification of languages. The class of languages generated by finite state automata is called regular languages, and the class of languages generated by pushdown automata is called context free languages, and the class of languages generated by linear bounded automata is context sensitive languages, and the class of languages generated by Turing machines are called recursively enumerable languages. And each one is a set, and regular set is contained in context free set, and which is contained in the context sensitive set, and which is again contained in the recursively enumerable set. This means you can have a Turing machine for any of these languages. Okay, and these are what we are going to learn in this course, and it remains to discuss more details about the course. The first one is what about the assessment, how you will be getting grades. There is continuous internal evaluation and end semester evaluation. In the continuous internal evaluation, it's out of 50 marks. The first internal examination is on 20 marks, and the second internal examination is on 20 marks. So 20 plus 20, 40, and the remaining 10 is for assignment. you will be given various assignments, but the assessment will be made based on online quizzes. Based on the offline assignments given, there will be online quizzes and the marks will be awarded based on your performance in the online quizzes. And the end semester examination needs to be conducted by the university, and that is out of 100 marks. So the total marks for grading is 150, 100 for end semester examination and 50 for continuous internal examination. And there are eligibility conditions defined by the university regulation, minimum attendance percentage and minimum marks to be obtained on continuous internal evaluation. It is 22.5 or above you need to get eligibility to write the end semester examination. And the book that I follow to teach this course is Automata Theory and Computability by Dexter C. Cozen. With that, I am moving to the last slide of this lecture. In this, what I am trying to explain is what you will be able to perform at the end of doing this course. Okay, what ability you are going to get. And I have 5 statements describing it. The first says that you will be, by the end of this course, you will be able to classify a given language into regular or context free or context sensitive or recursive or recursively enumerable. That is, given a language, you will be able to say what kind of language it is. For example, if you are given with the language A and B, and you will say that it is a context free language. Okay, and the second ability is you will be able to design various formal representations for a regular language. So there are various representations: finite state automata, regular grammar, regular expression, or Myhill-Nero relation. So at the end of the course, you will be able to design any of the formal representation for regular language. Similarly, you will be able to design a pushdown automata or a context-free grammar for any context-free language. And similarly, you will be also able to design a Turing machine for any of the recursively enumerable language. So basically, you will be able to give a formal representation for any of these languages. And other than this, you will be also able to explain the notions of decidability and undecidability. And this is what you will be able to do at the end of doing this course. And with this, let me finish the overview lecture on CS301 Theory of Computation. Thank you.